Their permit has been withdrawn. And then we're working on another permit for the installation of some stormwater infrastructure. That permit has also been withdrawn. So in response, if you remember the last time that I was here, I updated you on a notice of non-compliance that we received from DEP. I updated you on our odor. We had commitments to respond on odor planning, as well as a closure, corrective action design permit for a portion of the eastern side of the landfill that right now has temporary cap on it. And we'd be moving to take that from a temporary cap to final closure grades and a final cap. So we're still on track with that to submit that first, and there's going to be 2 CADs. So I'm going to take you through that process, and it's something we'll be talking about long term. Okay. So what a corrective action design, we call it a CAD, one of our many acronyms that we use. There will be 2 of those. The first one is exactly what I just said, in response to the notice of non-compliance for the closure of that specific area on the east of the landfill. So that's going to be submitted at the end of September, and we expect that the construction of that cap would be during the 2018 construction season. So that would be CAD number 1. So CAD number 2 would be for capping and closing the remainder of the landfill. So right now you've got a 52-acre site that has 17.1 acres of final cap on it. The first CAD that I just talked about going in the end of next month is for an additional 5 acres of cap. So CAD 2, which will go in the summer, approximately the summer of 2018, will be for the remainder of that acreage. So the 52 acres minus the 5 minus the 17. So that will be the remainder.
That will just be the permit submission, right? Not the actual capping.
The permit submission will be in the, again, this is not very old news. So we're still working out what the absolute timeframes would be for permit submittals to get the permit in time for a construction season. So right now, CAD 1 is going in next month for the 5 acres on the east. Okay? CAD 2 will be going in the summer of 18 for the remaining acres.
CAD 2, the permit cap will be going in the summer of 18 when you envision construction will begin on CAD.
I can't answer that for you right now. We're just not that far out in the schedule. But, you know, those will pretty much be the 2 items we'll be talking about as we move forward. You know, I normally have a handful of permits to update you on, and it'll really be those 2 moving forward. All right, so the CAD 1 is also going to incorporate some stormwater improvements for the east side of the landfill that was previously its own standalone permit. So it kind of doesn't make sense to do it in 2 avenues. So we're incorporating everything into the CAD. It's much easier for DEP to do that way. So that's really it. In a nutshell, anything that was on the table active for permitting for DEP, exclusive of the motion to reconsider, has had a formal request to DEP to draw back those permits. In place of anything moving forward, I've explained CAD 1 and CAD 2, and we'll have a lot more conversation about those. And then I think we just need to be a little more patient to allow the town and Casella to have their conversation before we get the final timing on the motion for reconsideration. All right. So I really wanted to update you guys on the permits. I'm sure you probably had some other questions. I really didn't have anything else big that I was going to add to the discussion tonight.
Just one question. The permits, are they being rescinded or are they being suspended?
They're being withdrawn.
Okay.
Yes.
So withdrawn means they're just taken off the table.
Correct.
Okay. Because you said something earlier about suspended.
That's the
Site
difference.
suitability.
Yeah, as of this moment, as we sit here today, I want to be clear about that. That the motion for reconsideration, which was the process that we were at for the site assignment, and the request from DEP on their determination is at this moment suspended pending our meeting with the town, and I think you can expect a final action after that meeting with the town.
Okay. That clears it up.
Well, first of all, I would like to say and you don't have to respond, I would like to say that I hope this doesn't have any adverse impact on you. I know it will for many people, but you have always been a really good person to work with and come in here and keep
Thank
us
you.
updated, so
I appreciate that, thank you.
we will try to keep, you know, in thoughts of the people they might affect, and if the board can do anything, because it even affects some of the employees that work
For
for
the
the
town,
board.
yep.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
You're closing up shop, you'll be gone by the end of 2018 is a simpler way to say, it sounds like a simpler way to say what you're doing. I may be wrong, but do you plan to continue to do the day-to-day activities right up till the end?
Yep.
And fill it up and cap it off and,
Absolutely nothing will change from today to when the last ton of waste goes into the landfill. We still are, committed to operating, bringing the landfill to proper closure. It is something that, we have all the skill and resources to do. And it will be, I believe if the exact language was that the landfill would operate until the existing airspace was exhausted, but no later than December of 2018. So there's a lot of things to consider in that operationally. Depends on what kind of winters and springs we have. It depends on, waste in the market, our customers' needs. All of those things go into the day-to-day operation of how many tons come into the landfill. So, right now, and as we move forward, I think we'll be able to really have clarity on when that exact timing may be.
right, so.
And then you have to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, then you have to actually cap the facility after that, the remaining acreage that would need to be capped. So if you just look at it right now, because we don't have any other further detail than that, if the last ton were to go in on December 31st of 2018, you still then have to cap after that. So there will be plenty of activity at the landfill for a time period after that.
One more thing, I don't know if others still think about it. There's a landfill in Southbridge right now. You are finishing up, capping it off. Is the cap the end? Would there ever be somebody else that said, oh, it's still a usable site the way that it is, and you could have another landfill there?
I'm not sure how to answer that, Sue. It's something I hadn't thought of until you just mentioned it. But I can tell you what our commitment is to that. I'm not quite sure why that's funny. But I think our commitment to that is that we would bring the landfill to capping. Once you have finished your cap in completion, you give DEP a QA/QC report on the cap, just like you would for a liner system. DEP goes through it and they say, okay, we approved the capping system that was done, you are now, here's your post-closure permit. So from the absolute date of that post-closure permit, we say it's January 1 of 2019, that the landfill then goes into its post-closure operation, which is 30 years. And so Casella is responsible for that 30-year post-closure. So what happens after post-closure, I have to be honest with you, Sue, I don't have a lot of experience with that. To say I've seen it happen before, I'm not sure.
And I
what
just
to tell
ask
you
because
there.
there are some people that have very strong opinions about whether or not Southbridge has a landfill.
Mm.
And if you knew that there could never ever be another one, they might sleep better or sleep.
Yeah, I understand, why you want to ask
My
that.
understanding of site assignment is once the property is site assigned, the site assignment doesn't get removed from the property. It stands forever. So if somebody found some innovative way to handle trash on that property and it falls within the parameters of the site assignment, they could conceivably apply to DEP for a permit to do that on that site. The site assignment is forever, that's my understanding.
But the town is the owner of the property. That never
The
changes.
questions that we brought up to the
I'm sure it's a
I'm sure you know.
reasonable thing to ask.
What's that?
A post-closure discussion committee on the possible uses of it as maybe passive recreation or,
Right.
I don't know if Casella did propose some solar panels.
So,
Solar panels were in association with the MSC berms, and so those won't be constructed. So there is no solar on the table for the landfill.
Okay, So there are allowed uses for closed landfills, and that might be something that the Board of Health might want to have a representative to whatever board the town puts together to consider post-closure uses. But the site assignment is forever. If in the future, the Board of Health wanted to found a nice flat spot and they wanted to put a transfer station there, they could conceivably apply to DEP to have a residential drop-off or a transfer station, or because the site assignment stays.
What's that?
Mr. Chairman, do you know if the meeting between SODP and the town to discuss the motion to reconsider would be a public meeting?
Or will not, I believe that is a meeting between the agents of Casella, the town manager, and myself,
Okay.
and lawyers.
Okay.
Thank you, Tracy.
I just want to thank you again for your comment. That was very nice of you. You guys aren't getting rid of me just that soon yet. There's still going to be plenty of time for us to talk, so, all right, thank you.
Thank you. So, agenda item 8.
Just a few things related to the closure of the landfill. The Board of Health is going to suffer some serious financial impacts as to staffing, and I think we have basically short of a year and a half to figure out what we're going to do to keep the office staff, if we're going to be able to keep the office staff. I think that should be a priority of ours. With landfill closure, that doesn't mean the work goes away. Maybe it means we can concentrate on something a little more dear to the heart of the Board of Health. We're still going to have housing, we're still going to have restaurants out there, we're still going to have nuisance complaints. There's asthma, teen pregnancy, the big five are still out there. So we'll want to be putting some effort towards trying to figure out a way, minimize the impact to the town, but to keep the department together so that we can still perform the duties required of the Board of Health. Also want to mention that Casella owns, I believe it's 43 acres on the Kin Street property. And I'm optimistic that we don't necessarily lose our relationship with Casella, and that perhaps they might put something up there that is a sustainable use rather than a landfill. The town has been very adamant that they don't want a landfill up there, but there are other uses within the trash business that trash comes in, trash goes out, it doesn't stay in town. So hopefully, optimistically, Casella may come up with a use for that land, and we'll be working with them again to make that a reality, bring additional revenues into the town while keeping the trash out of the town. And I just wanted to make note to the Board of Health and the public. I sent out an email today. There was a West Nile positive mosquito found in Sturbridge, in Webster, and in Mowbray. We do not test for West Nile virus, but so the odds of finding one in Southbridge are way out there. But there's one in the immediate town next to us. There's one 2 towns over from us, so it's here. I posted a notice on the cable today. I'll get a notice on the webpage tomorrow. I would say until we find significant more and advised by the Department of Public Health, or until we find a human case, probably don't want to go as far as to shut down evening events or anything, but the board should start to consider and think about what would our response be if that happens. Normal time for West Nile virus to start really getting aggressive. I don't mean more viral, but we find more cases throughout the state is late August through early September. So we could very conceivably end up with a case, and the board should be prepared to act on it.
This brings back the issue about the fees. It is really important that we look, because every penny is going to count. The amount of money that comes in case the people here for all the good work that you do.
Can I ask
And
a question?
then the West Nile virus, we know what's going to happen every single year. Mosquitoes are going to test positive for West Nile virus. Even if we didn't test them here and catch the one that has it, somebody might still be bitten by that mosquito. So just that general announcement that you avoid mosquito bites, if only because they're itchy, is a good thing. And then I'm glad you're on top of it. If the state Department of Public Health issues any guidance to cities that we did tag along with that.
They have not even raised our risk level yet. One mosquito doesn't raise the risk level, but a couple of hits and I guarantee this whole region will turn yellow. Sorry, the risk level is on blue, yellow, green. So we will be elevated.
Is that on the website? You put that information? Or should that be on?
I will have a memo basically stating that the mosquitoes were found, that West Nile is a nasty thing, a link to the fact sheet on West Nile, and some basic precautions, wear long clothing when you're out in the evening, make sure that if you bring your baby out, because he can't tell you there's a mosquito on him, use crib netting,
Right.
3 or 4, dump out any standing water, and everybody's like, I don't have water in my, if you have a tarp on the ground in the back corner of your yard, you have standing water in your yard. If you have a tire swing, you have standing water. Just walk around your yard and seriously look at it and say, oh wow, that could hold water. Oh, that flower pot that I haven't used in 3 years might have water, you know, there's standing water in your yard, go find it and dump it out.
Is that?
That's all.
That's all set?
I have a question about what Andy said about the Board of Health, trying to make sure that the health department is funded. I didn't think that that was the Board of Health's responsibility to make sure that the health department is funded, first of all. Well, let me finish. Second of all, the people that he's talking about, aren't they just people that are monitoring the landfill? I didn't think that those, you're losing 2 people, I think, right? They're mostly, a spotter and a landfill monitor. They don't go around inspecting homes, do they? So if those are the only people you're losing, I don't see why you would be concerned about losing them if all they're doing is landfill activity. But mainly, I don't think it's the Board of Health's responsibility to make sure that your health department is funded. I could be wrong, but isn't that the town council's responsibility? The Board of Health is about health, not funding health department.
Anyone else?
If I may, we are losing 2 people directly related to the landfill. I want the board to understand there will be a closure period that I'm gonna have the contract looked at to see if Casella is to fund our monitor during the closure period. The closure period is gonna require close eyes. So if Casella is not responsible for funding that, we're gonna ask the council to support a body up there to make sure we have eyes on that landfill
No,
as
Casella's-
that's going to closure.
Casella's
Second off-
responsible.
Second
Okay,
off-
but this isn't this
Okay,
is
that's
a
all right.
discussion. You asked your question,
Right.
okay, Mr. Pelletier's gonna answer.
Can I
And
answer this?
no, we're not gonna do a back and forth on this
He's
whole.
going on, he's responding to what I said, that's going back and forth.
Okay, you had a question, all right? He's gonna answer it, okay? And then we're going to move on, okay?
Please understand that one of our inspectors is 70% funded directed by Casella, our housing inspector and solid waste coordinator, our recycle coordinator. He is funded 70% by Casella. Also, the 2 positions, Ms. Moritz's position and mine, are also partly subsidized by Casella. So we have the potential of losing definitely 2, possibly 3, and potentially 3 and a percentage. Third comment that Mr. Marquetti made was it's not the responsibility of the Board of Health to find funding. I lay argument that if the Board of Health can propose alternate funding sources, we would be negligent not to. So if we can find alternate means to fund the position and ease the burden on the town to ensure that public health is still protected, I think it's directly in the Board of Health's purview to at least propose what we can find. So I would argue that it's worth our efforts to at least try to help the council find the funding for those positions that we want to keep.
Okay. Is that it?
That was good.
Okay. So, agenda item 10, board members, agenda item 9, chairman's announcements. I have none, and you're here as chair. Agenda item 10, board members' announcement. We'll go around the table.
I had to, River Street, anything on that at all?
River Street, we are working with the building site. We're a combined department now. We sent out an order to remove 63 River Street based on a finding by the deputy commissioner that it's a pre-existing non-conforming use but that it had been abandoned for more than 2 years, that is on appeal. The appeal was held tonight, and it was continued, so that the applicant can go to the not the council, can go to the planning board to see if they can be granted a special permit. Special permit to continue the use of an abandoned non-conforming use. It's allowed by 801.1 if they meet the conditions of the board.
Do you know when the meeting is?
So that meeting, the meeting today was continued till the 14th of, no, the meeting today said we will continue it generally, but you have to take some kind of action by the 14th of September. So he shall have filed with the planning board by the 14th of September, and then once he files, we'll figure out when that board is. So that is on hold until all of the appeals are exhausted. To that point though, we do have 5 other buildings that we are looking at to actually we're filing 4 of them in court next week. 56 Main Street, 80 Hamilton Street, 38 Foster Street, the rear building, and 9 Rose Street. If we do not see some kind of action on those by Monday, we'll be filing those to see if the court will assist us in ordering those removed.
Now, I have one question, Libby's, is there an update? So you didn't contact?
He has not.
Okay.
Does the board want any action on that, or?
Having a violation of the order?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So we ask them every month to keep us in contact with the purchase and sale of Libby's, because it was brought to the board one time to shut it down. And we sit contingent on keeping us briefed on the purchase and sale.
I mean, even if it wasn't anything to update, but just to even let us know that, hey, you know, this is still what's happening.
Can you reach out to them?
Do you want me to read that to them, or do you want me to schedule them for the next normal,
I would
whatever
schedule,
meeting?
I would
Yeah.
schedule to get an update.
We'll get a letter out to him, whenever the board decides our next regular meeting is,
Yep.
Yeah,
we'll have the
Tomorrow
program.
here.
And if you have to update the order, or did you put one in that had a deadline or
He was
specifics?
He was at a hearing, and this board put conditions on him, so he is aware of the orders of the board. If the board wants me to put that to writing, I wasn't at that meeting, unfortunately, so I'm not aware of the exact conditions. But if somebody can give me a summation, I can put it down on paper.
But
Oh, we're gonna have them in at the next meeting anyhow.
Yeah.
aren't there legal requirements for the order, like the right to appeal and things like that? I may be talking about.
he wasn't appealing, he was.
No. If you order somebody to do something, you have to follow certain guidelines, tell them certain things, tell them where they can go if
There's
they
a
want
appeal
to
process.
appeal.
Well, he
He
appealed,
wants to appeal.
we ordered him to do something, he appealed, so he followed the appeal process. The board said, okay, we're good with it, we'll accept your appeal, so there is no appeal to a approval. We didn't deny him his appeal, so there is no appeal because he won.
So now there's no order,
So
so now
there
you
shouldn't
have
be an
to-
order unless the board said, no, we're not gonna support your appeal, we deny your appeal, then I would have to give him the next sequence of appeal. But he wasn't denied.
So that would be the next step. If he isn't in violation, you would write an order saying if we don't hear from you within this amount of days, your permit or your,
My,
whatever you want to write.
There was no permit, they
Well,
was,
there was-
Well, whatever it is, I don't even know,
Yeah.
I just know you have to follow all the.
there was a permit, we asked that the board revoke the permit
Right.
based on the conditions. He appealed it, the board said, okay, we agree with your appeal, we're good with it.
No more appeals.
So at this point in time, I would say he comes back before the board and the board makes a decision and I write the order based on that decision, if the decision is to crush that appeal. If it's not to crush that appeal, then there's nothing to appeal. So there wouldn't be an order necessary.
Right, so that.
Am I making sense or am I talking as if here as it sounds?
So he has to see us and explain why he hasn't contacted us, and then we make a decision or a motion to either allow him to go on his way or shut it down.
So we'll get a letter to him indicating that we're gonna have a continuation of that hearing, and we'll schedule it, and he has his choice whether he wants to come up to defend or not.
Right.
But we'll invite him to the hearing. We'll give him a notice to appear essentially.
That's all I have.
okay, thank you. So,
Talked enough.
okay. Subcommittee, traffic,
No, I understand what you're saying.
no report, sustainability,
No report.
landfill oversight. It's you, Dave.
Again? No, I'm not here. You guys are awesome. Nothing to report at this time.
Schedule next meeting.
David,
You do that to me again, I have a whole laundry list.
during our setup of the agenda,
Yes.
discuss something under one of these two committees that we were gonna discuss.
The next time.
Sustainability status
Oh,
mission.
there's zombies.
Yeah, let's put that off.
Put that up next meeting.
Table?
Okay,
Let's table it. I'm gonna guess I can't.
I knew something would be.
You can table
Okay.
something at some point.
No, it's just, my brain can't. We seem to get around that. Schedule next meeting.
All right, so we scheduled a working meeting for next Thursday at 5:30,
And it'll be.
unless I get an answer back from Mark Bowley, in which case it turns into a regular meeting with a working contact. We'll just post it as a meeting.
All right, so with that being said, are we scheduling it off the bat for 6:30?
5:30, that was it.
5:30, and if it goes into a regular
Regular
meeting,
meeting,
then we will
6:30?
conduct a regular meeting, the regular meeting agenda after the working meeting. So a 5:30 meeting for working, and then at 6:30 we'll start any business that we have to have, if indeed we make it a
If
business.
we have to.
Sounds good.
So, all right, which
Which brings
leaves us to our September meeting.
Next regular meeting, please.
So then does that make it the 14th or the 21st?
14th or the 21st, either one?
Is there a, what's the vacation week? What's the holiday week? I'm not gonna be there.
September 5th, beginning.
That would be the
Yes,
4th.
that-
That'd be
Okay.
beginning of the 4th.
The
You-
I can't be here the 14th.
So for the 11th.
Well, it's not the 14th, so it's the 21st, right?
Okay.
Okay. It's 6:30?
Mhm.
All right, yeah.
Then if you're happy the week after.
Okay. If you notice on the agenda, there are a couple of things on the bottom of the agenda, which I asked Andy to add, which are all the things that we've been working on, that the board, either we should have been talking about. So the whole thing of Lippy's probably should have been on the bottom also. So we always keep that in our mind, that we have an outstanding, issue, with these things. So we're working on grants, blight regulations, and the toter program. Those are still on the table. We don't want to lose sight of any of those. So we just kind of put those on the bottom, and then to keep reminding people that, oh yeah, we need to do that, and then we move them up as needed.
So we will present we'll sit with Dave and come up with the basic agenda and get it out to everybody and give everybody an opportunity, probably an overnight opportunity to say, Simon, I want to know what's going on with this, and just give us a call and we'll drag it back up into ongoing business. So it just kind of it's kind of a crib sheet to say, hey, we haven't touched this in a while, let's touch base on that. Hopefully, things will fall off this list as fast as we put them on, so that this list isn't 500 items long. That's the only fear of doing this. It gives the board a chance to say, let's bring that back and talk about it. And obviously, any topic that the board wants on the agenda, once you get the agenda, give me a call and I'll get it on.
Okay. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Pertaining to the,
Pertaining to what you just were talking about.
oh, okay, yeah. So,
Well, first of all, I am a member of the redevelopment authority, so if I want to ask questions here, you should give me a little bit more courtesy. But to tell me that I can't argue with somebody just to give that person the final word. Second of all, I am concerned about blight, and I want to know about that building downtown. Because when I walk down there, the one that's leveled because of the burn, because it was burned out, it looks very dangerous to me. I want to know if that wall is safe on the side of the building that's not burned.
so asked to put that on the agenda for the next meeting, and we'll discuss it as an agenda item.
But you just discussed it, didn't you?
We're
You said
not,
blight.
we're not discussing, if you notice, have it up there. That's something it's something we're keeping tabs on and we have concern. So by all means, let's get that on the agenda, and if you have concerns about a specific thing, this way we can, so Andy can do the research, get the information, and be able to respond, on that. Do you want to respond now?
I'm gonna say I'm not prepared to respond now. We've got issues with that building. And part of the issue is ownership. But, no, that's fine. We can put it on that. I'm not
So-
sure if every topic that every person wants to discuss should be brought on the agenda. We could have an out of control agenda.
No, I know, but if,
We can put it on, we can put,
but if somebody was concerned about a Board of Health issue being blight, and, I think we should have an opportunity that they can bring it forward and says what's going on with this issue here. But let's make sure that we're doing it, we get it on the agenda, you have a chance to get the information, we have a chance to think about it, and then discuss it at that time, rather than now. Okay? All right,
I'll make a
so,
motion to adjourn.
and we have a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we'll see you next week.